Holy moly, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have one good race car driver on the show. We have two. That is Tyler Reddick joining us right here on Stacking Pennies in studio. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where's your ring?
I should have brought it with me. I really dropped the ball on that.
Is it heavy?
I mean, it's not heavy, but I've already dropped it once. I'm not afraid to admit that. There's a good story behind it. Well, I say it's a good story, but it's a story. How about that? Every time I look at the nick on it, I'll be like, yeah, I remember how that happened. But
and you know exactly the spot it fell. Did it fall on the bricks?
It fell at my car chief's Clay's house. We were celebrating a little bit after the race, and I think I was handing it off to somebody else, and I fumbled it and hit the ground. And I first looked at it, probably because we were a few deep, and I'm like, oh, it looks perfect. No scratches. The next morning I woke up and looked at it. I'm like, oh, dang.
You wouldn't have been the first guy to flex on with the ring on the show. Austin Cindric wore not only the ring, but he also wore the leather jacket.
Yeah. Yep.
But
was he sweating by the end of the show? Because
I mean, we were asking him the hard-hitting questions. Not so much, though. But how did you turn into such a damn good road course racer?
It's pretty simple. I put a lot of time and effort into it. It really started in the off season, coming off my rookie season in the Cup Series. Every single road course we go to, I think I was about 30th place on speed, and if cars would wreck, we'd get to about 15th, stuff like that. But I couldn't do anything right in the braking zone. I could get beat by 3 or 4 car lengths by a lot of different people. How is my mindset and looking at and how to approach this corner versus that corner was all wrong. I pretty much approached every corner exactly the same. And when you have some ovals where your approach works good naturally, like Homestead, I guess, it works out okay. But when you go to places like the Roval or Watkins Glen, Sonoma, you got to have a different approach for each of those tracks. And I just didn't really even begin to understand what looking at road course racing was like.
So what are some of the tools that you went from being a 30th, using your terminology, a 30th place road course guy to one of the dominant guys on the circuit right now? What's that? SMT? Is that track days? Is it simulator? Combination of all of them?
You can use a lot of different things. I think just putting the time and effort in is the big part, whether you do it on iRacing or if you have time in the simulator. For my example, Chevy Simulator, spent time in the off season, and that was huge. Going and doing some road racing on the side, that's helpful too. Just putting in that time and effort and being really intentional about it, I think, is the biggest thing. And for me, really wanting to improve from where I was really motivated me to get there.
Now, putting time and effort into something doesn't always equate success, right? You have to be putting the time and effort in the right way and towards the right stuff. So the people around you, like Randall Burnett's a stud, right? And we just talked about Andy Dickerson, your engineer. It's a whole team effort to get better at this.
Absolutely.
So you have to work together. So if you're pulling the rope, they all have to be pulling the rope the same way. So what does that, how much of them pushing you that direction and working on road course stuff, and you should have won California, you should have won the dirt race, stuff like that. How is that working with them, the people surrounding you?
Oh, really, really well. I mean, we've been working together, me and Randall for a little bit longer, but like Andrew and some of the others, we've been working together for even with just the Cup career. This is our 3rd year together, so we know each other really well. We know how to work well together, and we're not wanting to get out of the time that we put in, whether that's in the simulator or how we prepare our race cars. So there's a lot of people that dedicate a lot of time and effort into making the road course racing better. Another huge piece of helping me get better is Byron Daly. He works at RCR. He really kind of would guide me and get me out of my bad habits and really motivate me and get my brain thinking in new ways to look at a corner. And when you go to a place like Indianapolis, I think car dependent, you could be driving that track 3 or 4 different ways depending on how your car drives, I think. And looking back at the race and some of the SMT data from Sunday's race, there was quite a bit of parity between, the top 5 and how they're approaching, the slow sections, like from turn 1 to turn 4 and turn 7 to turn 10.
As we all know, winning solves everything, right? So I see you kiss the bricks next to RC, but if you rewind a couple weeks and you do the announcement going to 2311 for 24, how was those next couple of days walking through the RCR shop?
Well, I was in the shop later that day. I had a pile of stuff to sign, but
I heard a little bit of the backstory. So Denny got a hotel in Winston-Salem?
Got a conference room, yeah.
Because he also knew that obviously word would get out when RCR was notified. He had less than 10 minutes, right? So you left RCR, went to a hotel.
Yeah, conference room, yeah.
When you went back to RCR, how was that?
I was like kind of tiptoeing in a little bit.
Were you wearing the 2311 shirt still? Or did you at least take it off?
No, of course I took it off. Yeah. I didn't even wear a 2311 shirt in the announcement. I was wearing a black T-shirt. But no, I did have an RCR shirt with me because earlier that day we were shooting some, ironically enough, some partner thank you videos for, hey, 3G, thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything you do type of thing. So
yeah,
I was at the shop earlier that day doing videos for a Road America win. So that, just another thing that makes it more interesting, right? So I had some more things I needed to finish doing at the shop. I don't really get to, Welcome's not that close, and with Bo and trying to spend as much time at home as I can. And on top of that, put the effort and time I feel like I need to into training. I really only get up to RCR about once a week. So going back later that day to finish up what I was doing certainly was a little interesting, but I didn't bump into a lot of people because I think most were on their way and heading home about 4 or 5 o'clock, and I was there signing stuff till about 6 or 7.
Did you have to duck past RC's desk or office?
Well, RCR is kind of
days?
a maze.
Yeah.
The upstairs, it's a little bit different. I definitely the first couple of weeks that I went to that shop, trying to get from Randall's office to Danny Lawrence's office to Richard's office, I get completely lost because there's not a lot of windows unless you're have an office that's along the perimeter of the building. So it's very easy to get lost in that building.
So you're making a big jump, obviously, a year and a half from now. So how do you remain focused at the job at hand? Obviously, you're a perennial playoff contender. The 8 teams hitting on all strides, seems like, leading into the playoffs and for a playoff run. And also, the entire year next year, knowing that you're gone the following. How do you keep everybody around you pumped up at the mission at hand?
Well, thankfully, I think what initially helped with a lot of that is the speed that we already have and we've shown all year long. That was kind of coming off the tail of winning at Road America. So we already know that we go out there and win. And so for me, just taking advantage of the time that we have and really capitalizing on what we have in front of us. And all of us are really on board on doing that. I mean, it would be a difficult thing, right, to really tail off and go the wrong direction. And I just know that this team and this group won't do that. We won't accept that. And I feel like this weekend kind of showed that to everybody else that probably, I'm sure there was people out there doubting it, but our team wasn't.
Did you think your first 2 career wins would be on a road course?
No.
Dude,
I guess last year on the road courses, after we did put in the work that we did and we got better, getting the pole at Coda, I was feeling really good about the race. And then the monsoons came, right? And that really changed everything for us.
Goodness.
We had a really good car in the dry there that year, but never really saw a lap in the dry in the race.
What was the shift? Because road course racing is as much confidence in your abilities to get deep into the braking zones, to pass cars and get a little bit deeper, or apexes like you talked about, approaching the corners differently. When did the switch flip or the knob get turned up on the confidence level before? Because you can't just show up to Coda without knowing you're going to be a 30th place guy and then go get the pole, right? Like your confidence going into the weekend, something changed.
Yeah.
Knowing that you had the speed capable enough to be competitive.
Well, I guess for me, I've noticed over the years my confidence comes from the work I put into it. Whether that's spending time in the gym, spending time in the simulator, going through the right motions, making sure that we're bringing everything that we want on our race car to the racetrack. Just putting that time and effort in for me gives me the confidence that I need. I had another thought, but it's gone.
I want to go to that final restart in Indy when obviously the one goes through one and shortcuts the turn there. What's going through your mind when you see, oh, here's the one.
Yeah.
Now I have to battle him. What's going through your mind there?
I was kind of like, dang it. I was aware of the potential of this, right?
The Joker lane is what we've been calling it.
No, I mean, it was the access road and it served a purpose, right? And, just with the way the rules were set up for this weekend, I feel like it kind of got left out there for the taking. And
no. It says you cannot shortcut turn 1.
And why do we even have an access road?
Spoken like the true guy that reads the driver's meeting.
He had to perform a stop and go in the motorcycle section in turn 12. So if you shortcut it, you had to do a stop and go. So that was in the driver's
I don't remember when than the messages I saw ever seeing anything about having to perform.
I'm
Stop
not
and
going to
go
question Chuck
avoiding
because he was
the
the one that
road.
actually said it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, he did say the driver's meeting video. You're
Is
right.
there?
But I was behind 4 or 5 guys over the course of the weekend. Not going to name names, but the 3, the 5, a couple other guys that cut it, gained about 4 or 5 car lengths, and never stopped, and it was never called.
Yeah, it was a tough go. But what was it like? Man, I forgot. Like when I was watching the last lap, that he cut that to get to you, and I was like, man, the 2 car they might, mess with each other, and a 2 car might get there. If the Ross cuts turn 1, and then you guys wreck, does it warrant you punching him in the face? That's what I would wonder. Because, I think so. I don't want to fight much at the track, but that's you just cut the track. I dominated this race. I did everything right on the restarts because we were third. And I'm like, man,
But
really
you strike me more of a lover, not a fighter.
It would depend on how me and Ross get along really, really well. I know there's a number of drivers, including I think one that was just on here that may not at times, but me and him race really, really well against each other, and I think we always have, and we'll continue to do that. So it depends on the situation.
I asked this as knowing that you're the guy that got wrong the most this year with the Chase Briscoe deal, and you handled that very well. So I'm just trying to figure out where your breaking point is.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of people wouldn't have.
I think part of that is, I look at one thing like dirt racing, and I look at another one like road course racing or asphalt racing. So, yeah, I mean, it's the move that he made was crazy. It was ballsy. It was a move that I had to make on a couple others throughout the race, and it was sketchy. But I kind of knew it was coming. I didn't know, I guess, it was going to play out the way that it did. I don't think he did either. Once he got in there, he knew he was in trouble. But that's just
So
I grew up dirt racing.
What's it going to take to get mad enough to punch somebody in the face? I guess we'll find out when we see it.
I mean, yeah, circumstances will have to play out. I don't know. Thankfully, it didn't come to that. But
yeah,
I mean,
did you know that
seeing what Joey did was very frustrating for sure. On that. I guess the final restart, second to last restart.
Yeah,
that was frustrating. But I mean, obviously, in the position he was in, he wasn't racing for the win there. But if you just get, someone drives in your back bumper and just shoves you off the racetrack, that's a pretty good one.
So on that final lap, when you're battling with Ross, there were a couple of times that look, okay, if you door him, you could get him out of the way. What are you thinking when you're racing him there? Is it just, I'm going for that win? Is anybody saying, hey, he's got to do this, he shortcut this? Or is it they're quiet and you're just going after it?
And my spotter, Derek Nealon, was a bit animated on the radio. He was pretty fired up about what happened. Ross being able to get up alongside of us, going into turn 3 into 4. So I understood his frustration because I was like, what the heck? But I mean, again,
do you think
we had to race him at that point? And for me, if I get too caught up in trying to move him out of the way instead of just passing him clean or trying, set up a pass efficiently, I'm putting myself in a spot of if I use Ross up, then I open the door for him to use me up, and then
right.
we had Austin right back there too that could capitalize on it.
With all that being said, I feel like your ability to close races obviously is speaking for itself, but that was kind of the narrative up until Road America, right? Second a bunch of times, hauling ass a lot of races, whether tires down, whatever the case may be. You should have been in victory lane multiple times before that. Do you think Tyler Reddick last year, if that would have happened, same scenario, do you think you'd have been composed in the same way you were on Sunday?
On a road course, I think so. But certainly the room for error on downshifts and some of those things are definitely different. In fact, into turn 7, I had a little bit of a mishap going from second to first with Ross. And the amount that you wheel hop these cars when you miss a shift is less. You have to be more precise, I feel like, with the downshifts and the upshifts with this new car with sequential gearbox. But the mistake I feel like I make in the old car I would have paid a much larger penalty than what I did with the new car.
With the big wheel hop?
With wheel hopping. So I feel like racing-wise, I don't know if much there has changed for me.
I'll take that a step further. If you don't win at Road America and you're racing for your first win, does desperation take over? Because you already have a win. And now this guy, if that's racing for your first win and he does that, do you put the maturity you showed on 2 restarts, and then to be able to put yourself in good position on 2 restarts, and to be able to beat him and also to win with a helmet painter as your second spotter also shows how good you are. But yeah, if that's for your first win,
Shout out to Greg.
is it any different?
It's really hard to say. I truly believe that from the work and the discipline I tried to bring to the event and the work that we put in would keep me from going to that place, but I honestly couldn't tell you. Maybe something would have been different, but I don't know. I feel strongly in the work and preparation I would have put in that would have kept me from going to that place, because I feel like, a place like Road America, you get into banging doors. I'm sure you saw it, when guys got racing really, really hard side by side, you could close up to them right in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Depending on where it would happen, you could go by both of them. So
Yeah.
you had to be smart about how you would battle.
So 3 or 4 months ago, before your win at Road America, we were at Millbridge, and you were just going through it.
I was
Right,
having a night.
I even jumped your shit.
Yeah.
Like we talk. I've known you for a long time. I did your first truck races together at BKR, and
How'd that one go, by the way?
he blew. Well, we went to Gateway, and he blew the transmission out before he got to the green flag.
Was that the first year I did?
Yeah,
Second year,
third,
I guess I did.
Fourth, third, second,
Yeah.
fourth, which it's sequential.
There was
now.
about
You don't have
3
to
or
worry about
4 races that year. We had
Dover,
really good
Dover.
trucks.
The
and-
transmission deal. I said, this sumbitch gonna have to learn how to shift.
Yeah, no, I did.
But
I had to learn. It was
But we
bad.
talked a lot about, like I told you about Corey and myself working on just mental toughness and meeting with sports psychologists, and we had talked about that. But you're a guy that confidence. If you're confident, it's dangerous, and we know that. But when you're not confident, it's also dangerous the other way.
Mhm.
So sitting here today, you're a lot different than your demeanor's a lot different than it was 3 months ago when we were at Millbridge. Even there, you qualified on the pole, you knocked the ladder out of it in the heat race, you were in the B main, something happened, you were ready to punch a hole through the trailer wall. Now, a lot of times you don't understand the full scope of the situation, right? I didn't understand that you were in the midst of big time contract negotiations at that time, right? You don't always understand what people are going through. Was that something at that time that was weighing on you now that that's done? Or there's always a little bit more to the story. So what's the demeanor of Tyler Reddick now as it was 3 months ago, and what has helped build that confidence? Obviously winning, but also stuff in your personal life, like, figuring out where you're going to be.
I
Long
think.
term.
Yeah, I mean, I think it played a role in it, but I think more than anything, it was, it gets a little old when you have the speed, things are going right, and you're one little mistake or two away every race from capitalizing on that and winning. And so I definitely was starting to let that weigh on me a little bit. We'd had a number of races, even at that point, where just that's just the way I chose to look at Bristol. If I just would have ran the top a little bit better last couple laps, that move wouldn't have been in the play for Chase. I try to look at Fontana. The one time I went below the white line on the front straightaway is when we had the left rear tire go down, just trying to do too much, just little mistakes here and there. So those definitely weighed on me, but it was really great to get that win and know, okay, finally, geez, we had a day without a mistake, and look what it brought us. It brought us a win. And I look at how, in my opinion, Indy went. It went pretty much mistake-free all weekend long, and we got another win. There's been a lot of races this year, even Pocono. I made a few mistakes on the final restart, or mistakes that were made in the beginning of the race that could have shifted our whole track position for the rest of the day and put us in a different spot, maybe to capitalize on the two Gibbs cars getting penalized and winning that. So I probably, again, I feel like I tend to be a little too hard on myself, but that's how I really learn from it and get better from it.
So Denny sat here for about 45 minutes, was hanging out with us, and he mentioned something I picked up on. I asked him what's the motive or the thought to go get his guy, like he said on multiple occasions, being you, a year and a half before you're going to be in a race car for him for 2311. He also said he knew that you were in negotiations with other teams because you were already on the block. What made you choose the vision there at 2311, what those guys are trying to build, over the potential other people that are on the bidding?
Well, I just feel like where they've come in the last year and a half as a team is pretty impressive. I mean, it's really tough to go cup racing. We've all been in cup racing. We understand it. It's not an easy sport, and for the things that they've been able to do, the people they're working with, and how attractive that place is for others that may be looking to go somewhere else in the future, right? I feel like just a great place. The mindset that Denny has and the people that he has working with 2311, doing the things, making the decisions. I just really like the mindset and the approach that they have and their vision for the place. So for me, that was something that I was really excited to be aligned with and be a part of. And, announcing it in advance certainly has advantages for the team in figuring out what they're going to do in the next, year and a half.
So when did, is it the conversations, like when do those little like seeds get to start? Like, is it like rubbing elbows at the urinal at Daytona Beach? Like, when did the interest become of both parties start to like actually start to materialize?
Well, me and Denny had the opportunity to race pretty close together a number of times, and it just kind of started casually, and the more that we got to speak to one another, the more we got to race one another, the more it became obvious. And then finally I wouldn't say it became obvious. I was kind of caught off guard by it, but he told me, hey, whatever you got going on in the future, keep me in the loop and let me know, because we're really interested in having you. And the time that he said that, I was a bit caught off guard, because we hadn't won any races, obviously, right? But the moments of greatness were there. Like, we had the speed, this or that, and it was just really cool that a guy like him, people like Michael Jordan, and the people that are aligned with 2311 believe in what I can do and want me to be their driver.
I mean, that's got to be a bit of a confidence boost, like knowing that you haven't won, then you get that, and it's like, all right, now I'm going to go out here and boom, win a Road America.
Now, I hate going back to moving, right? Like, you're moving teams, but I'm a team guy, and I like the behind the scenes stuff that maybe people don't get to see. Now, obviously, it's going to be awkward when you talk to ownership or whatever. You understand, like Richard and all that, but when you had to go in and sit down with the A team and tell them, hey man, this is what I'm doing, and it's a long-term play, who do you feel like you were the most worried about telling on your team? And then second part of that question, you guys are strong championship contenders. And it keeps coming up about having to work with them the rest of the year or next year. I know your guys. I know they're badasses and they're behind you. But how do you keep the wheels on that and keep the distractions out? But first off, who was the most, like, did you feel like most awkward telling what you were going to do?
I mean, I didn't really know until I got in that moment when I got to talk to them. But, certainly, some took it harder than others, that's for sure. And the reason that is because of how committed they are to what we're doing. So, yeah, it was certainly tough sledding for us. We had to figure out, we understood what's in front of us, but again, we just won. We know that we can do this together as a group, and so we just really rallied behind the fact that we can go out there and win, and we can keep doing this. We just gotta really dig down deep and not necessarily even do anything more than what we have been doing. We just gotta get back to doing what we just did like a week and a half ago, and we're gonna be just fine. And for me, I don't know how to what percentage wise or what, but certainly knowing like this is, I can't tell you the exact number race I have, right? But like, it's a year and a half. It's not I don't have an indefinite amount of time to keep making, the cars and us as a team going up this ramp. Now we got to get it done while we have, in the year and a half that we have. So for me, place a nice, I think, sense of urgency. I think it's been good for me. I've always been very intentional about the work that I put in and the time that we spend and taking advantage of it, making the most of it. If anything, I think it's one of those things in life. Nothing is forever in life, and certainly one day I'll be done racing. Hopefully not for a while, but it kind of lets us know that this is our this is our lifespan. This is what we have in front of us. Let's go capitalize on it.
If the playoff started tomorrow, how deep do you think the team's capable of going?
I've been so focused on the tracks ahead, I can't even really tell you right off the top of my head what tracks are in the first round right now.
Chuck, do you know?
Got Darlington.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I should know this, and I'm a bad NASCAR employee
Pretty good.
for not
You're
knowing.
pretty good at Darlington.
Darlington, we're close to
Bristol?
Darlington.
Bristol?
You got Darlington, Kansas, Bristol.
All places you're good at.
That's a good first round for me. I mean, I don't know that
There's no dirt on Bristol.
Asphalt Bristol with this new car might be a completely new challenge for all
Well,
of us.
unfortunately, it's concrete, pal.
I said asphalt. Didn't I? Sorry, I'm leaking information. I wish.
I don't know. Do we
But-
pave on top of the dirt? Because Junebug would be
That'd be a
jumping
nice
for joy.
surprise,
Right?
wouldn't
It
it?
would be like, oh, hey,
I mean, I
guys.
love concrete Bristol, but that'd
Hey,
be pretty cool.
Don't put it by Marcus to just go off of the beaten path and do something wild.
That is a
What's-
first. That is a first. I mean,
That's right up your
we
wheelhouse.
kind of
first
fell
round.
into the trap of being like, oh, this is our round. Like we can get through this, no biggie.
Mhm.
And last year's playoffs, and me and Randall had to learn this the hard way. We kind of got overly focused on all the little details, and we just never had the basic conversations of, hey, we're getting ready to run at Darlington for the Southern 500. We're going to go from the daytime to nighttime, and just being on the same page of how we want to adjust our car. And we got in the race, and we were fine. We took off. By the end of the race, we were so lost together. It was not good. But thankfully, we went through that experience and learned from it. And I think Kansas, we had a fast car. I made a mistake late. Like the first round for us, we had great potential to run good at, and I fumbled all of them. So good.
Feeling
first
strong
round.
about the first round. The second round, Chuck.
Texas, Talladega, and the Roval. So you got a road.
Might have
course
to bank on the Roval. I mean, with this car, we've seen Texas and Talladega could be very difficult,
card.
oddball type races.
And then, of course, your round of 8, Las Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville.
2 of those tracks are good for me.
Dude,
Vegas
I
and
mean,
Martinsville are my
you lay it
best
out.
tracks in that round.
you lay it out, man. Who knows? Could
I
be
don't
seeing
know
that
if
8
you
car
can
in the
rip the
Final
wall
Four
with this car.
at Homestead.
I don't know.
Oh, I could
I
damn
was
sure know
actually,
you're going to be figuring it out.
I was actually
but-
really worried about that. I'm not going to lie with this new car, but we went to Fontana and in practice figured out pretty quick. Okay.
Yeah.
Still can. Still
Do you
can.
think this car is comparable, equal, or better running the
Or-
fence? Just
Ooh. I would say you don't gain. I don't feel like you gain as much speed as the old car did. I was able to go to a place the last time we were at Homestead with the old car that I didn't even know was there for
Yes,
a long
it's
time.
called fucking warp speed.
Dude, the car. I mean, the way that the spoiler and the NAC ducts and just the way that body with that car was, you could just get like, I mean, just
No,
closing
you
like
can't
this,
even
and
do.
you-
Can't even couldn't fit that. You couldn't fit this damn piece of paper.
and
between
it was
you.
a matter of going like being like a tenth or two faster, then all of a sudden like half a second faster. It was
Then
ridiculous. I don't know if this
everybody
new
else.
car has that because some of the effects underneath it, I feel like
Right.
at some point you choke that off underneath the car, which is how it all works. So I think the wall will still be important, but I don't know how much of a factor. it'll
Coleman
play.
Presley last year. Everybody wants to talk about the 5 car. Fuck that. Every week it was lap 10. Everybody's on the bottom. The only one making time at the fence is the 8. He's the only one up there. Every week, like anywhere we'd go, you'd be up there coming to the front.
Well, it was
So.
cleaned off because we weren't.
You cleaned it
practicing or
off.
doing nothing.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd
dust this thing
go
off
up there
right
too
quick.
soon and rubber it in, and then it'd be gone. I mean, it wouldn't be gone, but
Well, you also
we
once you
ran
start passing everybody, making speed up there, everybody else clogs your lane. That's how it works. But wrapping all that up, it looks like the number 8 car has. Who knows, man? You can make a little run at this thing.
I mean, do
we have some great tracks in there for us.
Do I need to go over the final round? It's Phoenix.
It's Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Okay,
How'd
And
you do
like-
with Phoenix early in the season?
we were good there.
How'd-
We've had this. Well,
Where'd you finish?
We've had this odd trend of being really good in the spring and had to work on it a little bit when we get back in the fall. But hopefully, we don't have that problem again. We've been pretty
Man.
good at the flat tracks.
I don't know what championship odds are at the moment, but y'all might want to sprinkle a couple bucks on the old 8. Hearing a lot of confidence. That old TR here sitting next to me. Before you go, buddy, we got 2 questions. I just asked your future boss DH what his answers were. But number 1, your most embarrassing moment at the racetrack.
Mine personally, dang, I gotta think about that. I've got a lot of them.
I know. Just give me a good one. One of them.
Good one.
Yeah. Missing a shift before the green flag. That's all. That would be pretty good. But we already
Wasted.
covered that.
Wasting my whole day.
Oh, I got a good one. Once the cameras are off, it's relatable.
All right.
The dads will understand.
Well, they're
how
off
funny
right
it
now.
is. Yeah, right. Yeah, they're off. Okay. Now Alexa would kill me if I told you.
Yeah.
It's about Bo, obviously.
Um,
I can't think of what my most embarrassing. I mean, I got a lot of them. That's the problem.
It's okay. Your kid didn't steal a golf cart and almost drive in a pool and run you over with it.
Yeah,
so
that was
winning-
pretty
if
cool.
you feel like a bad
But most
dad, I'm pretty
embarrassing at the
terrible there.
track.
Yeah, like wrecking early, doing something dumb. Oh, Homestead. When you throttled back and Randall's like, "No, there's still 1 lap to go."
Yeah.
That one was pretty embarrassing.
All right, we'll go with that. I'll answer
I
that
think
for you.
Homestead is a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
The rest of them, they were at the racetrack, but not really around racing.
And we'll save those for Stack and Pennies after dark. Question number 2. If you had to pick one race car and one racetrack for the rest of your life, what are you going with?
I've heard about this question, and I wasn't prepared for it. Shame on me. Oh, man. I think I'd have to go with...
Your 12-1 championship odds, just letting you know.
12-1?
Yeah.
Open the season at 33-1.
Wow, that's pretty good. Track.
Dirt track?
No,
F1 track? Rockingham?
I would say if one car. We'll start with the car.
Okay.
It would be, the Mercedes W12
Okay.
that Lewis and all those guys were just super dominant in.
Yep.
That car looks like a lot of fun, and it's on iRacing, so I pretend that I'm an F1 driver every now and again.
The only thing I end up doing on iRacing, I might start at the track we're racing that week, and then I always end up in an F1 car at Watkins Glen. That's the only thing I do.
Track.
And he sucks.
It's not applicable.
No, I don't.
Sucks
but
at
your rig,
iRacing.
No, your rig sucks.
It's not even real at this point anymore, but I mean it just wouldn't work. Like the track's too bumpy, it's too old and wore out. But one of my favorite tracks to drive, just from how many different corners it has and how much you have to memorize, is Nürburgring.
You heard it here first on Stack and Pennies. Tyler Reddick, with as good as he's doing at road courses, next American F1 driver. There you go. Everybody's asking.
Breaking news on
I
your
think
way.
I'm a little old for that.
Yeah.
But
Hey, man.
People can talk about Colton Herta, Pat O'Ward,
You're the guy.
all these guys. You're the guy. Little did you know.
I've got not enough. I've
Breaking
dang near got
here.
zero. I've got zero open wheel asphalt experience.
Well,
it was all on dirt.
Let's start today.
Yep.
You can
Right
do
now?
it. You're starting your F1 bid. You're probably going to drive for McLaren like every other guy that's driving for any team right now.
As well, right?
Right. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler Reddick, congratulations.
Thank you.
Indy winner. Brickyard 400. Actually, it was the Verizon 200 this weekend. Congratulations again. And good luck with your number 8 playoff hopes, buddy.
An F1 career.
And F1 career. I'll see you on the grid.
See you on the grid.
Can we get passes? Can you
Paddock
get
passes?
me and Corey passes?
I'm
from
showing up
Yeah,
to
I'll
the
get you in the
USGP.
paddock.
Yeah. Let me in the paddock. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.